This week on Capital City Sports, the football team travels to Charlotte to take on East Carolina. Volleyball hosts the Gamecock Invitational, and women's soccer plays Northeastern in their home opener. This is Capital City Sports. Hi, and welcome into Capital City Sports. I'm Emily McDonald. The Gamecock football team traveled up I-77 this weekend to Charlotte for their season opener against East Carolina. Hunter Banks was there, and he'll tell you all about it.
Gamecocks taking on ECU in Charlotte last week. Let's head right to the action. Dominic Davis hits Justin Hardy for 25 yards to open up the scoring, making the score 7-0 East Carolina. Pirates enjoying their lead, and they'll enjoy it even more as Dominic Davis again tosses it to another wide receiver, this time Lance Lewis for 19 yards, giving the Pirates a 14-0 lead. They'll enjoy it even more later as Mike Barber hits a 24-yard field goal, 17-0 Pirates. But the joy of a shutout wouldn't last as Steven Garcia comes in for Shaw, and he immediately drives the team downfield and tops it off with a 32-yard touchdown run, the longest of his career. After Garcia opens the scoring for the Gamecocks, Spurrier decides to give the ball to Lattimore, and Laddie Daddy does not disappoint, running it in for a 4-yard touchdown, 17-14 ECU. Right here, Garcia throws it to Ace Sanders for the 3-yard touchdown catch. That would be Garcia's only passing touchdown of the night. And we'll see more of Ace Sanders later on. Later in the third quarter, Garcia puts the Gamecocks up 28-24 with this 10-yard rush straight up the middle. Here, Michael Dobson rushes 5 yards right up the middle, but Antonio Allen forces a fumble. Not really forcing a fumble, though. He strips the ball and returns it for a not pick six, but a fumble six. 35-24 Gamecocks. Ace Sanders would put the game away with this 68-yard punt return, putting the Gamecocks up 56-31. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, we did speed that up because that was about a 20-second play. And the final score of the game would be 56 South Carolina, 37 East Carolina. Hunter Banks, Capital City Sports.
Welcome into the boardroom. We're at Bank of America Stadium where the Gamecocks just beat East Carolina 56-37. Early on in the first quarter though, East Carolina was the team to beat. They got up 17-0 and they looked like they had the game in control. But Gamecocks made one key switch. Hunter, what was that?
Steven Garcia, Justin. They put the team leader back in. Spurrier finally, made the right decision. He drove his 2 first possessions, touchdowns, ran for one, passed for another. The fans broke out in the Garcia chant. There's nothing you can really say other than that the team got their leader back, and they responded well to that. And it was just, the Gamecocks never really looked back after that.
Yeah, it seemed like going on to the week, they didn't know who was going to be the quarterback, but I'm pretty sure that position is solidified now with Garcia. And now at the running back position, Heisman candidate Marcus Lattimore. Hunter, tell me about his performance today.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't see a Heisman candidate out there today, but he did run for over 100 yards. He did have 3 touchdowns, and he only had 12 carries in the first half. Spurrier had guaranteed him 40 per game. they had to make up a lot in the second half, which is why we did so well in the second. The first half game plan was throw it up to Alshon. It didn't quite work. Alshon did have 92 yards, no touchdowns though. The only receiver to have a touchdown was Ace Sanders, 3 yards by the way. But Lattimore, I mean, he was good. He was great, but he's not Heisman Trophy worthy from this performance.
That's the thing. Last year, when people talked about Lattimore, yeah, he's a great player. He's smart, though. He's not one of these guys that can go out there and just run 80 yards down the field and score, or break 50 million tackles and score. He's not that kind of guy. He just gets it done, gets his touchdowns, gets his yards, but he's not an exciting player. One exciting player on this offense, though, Ace Sanders. Hunter, tell me about him today.
Oh, what can I say? He had our one passing touchdown today. He returned a kickoff for 68 yards, I believe. First time that's ever been done in over a year. He's the most exciting player on the team, the most exciting player, I could argue, the most exciting player in the Southeastern Conference. But he outdid himself today. I wasn't expecting the performance he put in today.
That was a question going to the year too. You know, was Ace Sanders going to keep his job, or was Bruce going to take it? And right now, Ace just won the punt return position,
Yes.
and he earned the slot receiver position. Bruce did really good out of the Wildcat, but Ace Sanders is that third wide receiver for the Gamecocks, and he proved it today.
He did.
That'll be it for the offensive segment of the boardroom. I'm Justin Stevens.
I'm Hunter Banks.
And we'll be back to break down defense.
Coming up after the break, men's soccer plays host to UNC Charlotte, women's soccer plays Northeastern, and the guys in the boardroom analyze the defense. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Gamecock defense had its ups and downs against ECU this weekend, but came up big when it was needed the most. Let's send it to Justin and Hunter to learn more.
Welcome back into the boardroom. I'm Hunter Banks, joined by Justin Stevens. Now, Justin, tell me about the defense as a whole tonight.
The defense as a whole played, I would say, all right. You know, they came in, you knew about their secondary. That was their weakness last year. So we're going to see how they did against a pass-happy East Carolina team. And besides the first quarter where they got down 17-0, they started tightening up a little bit, but they still had some weaknesses. But for the defensive line, I thought the defensive line did really great. The run, they stopped East Carolina on the run. I think the first string running back for East Carolina only had 70 yards rushing. And Dominique Davis, he did pass for 4 touchdowns. But you think of it, 2 of those touchdowns were in the first quarter, only 2 the rest of the game.
Justin, were there any weaknesses to the defense?
I would say 2 weaknesses that I saw today. One, slant passes. They kept on getting beat by the slant passes. Lance Lewis for East Carolina ate the defense up. And also, Justin Harvey for East Carolina also did a tremendous job. The linebackers, they need to stay in coverage more, play their coverage better, because the rest of the secondary can't keep with their man in man coverage, so the linebackers are going to have to do something else too. Also, I hate to say it, but South Carolina's best secondary person, Stephon Gilmore, just did not perform. Lance Lewis owned him. I think got 2 touchdowns over him, a few more. And Stephon Gilmore, he tackled really well today, but he got most of those tackles because he let other receivers get passes, then he tackled them, which they got 7 yards out of it. So all that talk about Stephon Gilmore trying to be a leader for that secondary, that was kind of bad last year. It did not work out in this game. We'll see how it goes against Georgia, but they're going to have to step up if they have Aaron Murray.
All right, that'll do it for this block of the boardroom. We'll see you back for a preview of Georgia.
After losing to arch rival Clemson 2-1 on Friday night, the men's soccer team looked for redemption against UNC Charlotte Tuesday night. Pat Clooney was there, and he has your highlight.
Men's soccer faced a top 25 opponent Tuesday night in the UNC Charlotte 49ers, cocky getting friendly with the fans during this one. These two teams wasted almost no time in getting the action underway. Just a few minutes into the match, midfielder Stephen Morrissey follows up a deflected Vance Benson header and puts it in for the first goal of the match. Later, with just a few minutes to play before half, the 49ers' Donnie Smith dribbles around a few Gamecock defenders and drills a shot past goalkeeper Alex Long, and suddenly we're all tied up at 1. But the Gamecocks would retaliate. Just moments later, after some nice passing, it's Benson with the beautiful shot into the back of the net. The Gamecocks would go into the half with a 2-1 advantage. Second half, USC with a chance to widen their lead as freshman Emmett Lunsford takes an incredible shot, but it hits off the crossbar and falls out of bounds. But it didn't matter, because the rest of the game was all about defense for Carolina. The Gamecocks defense with some great coverage on this 49ers corners kick. Then later, Evan James for Charlotte trying to get off a shot, but Carolina just would not let him get a good look. And then, Gamecock keeper Alex Long took control, knocking this corner kick out of the air for the save. Then Long, with a fantastic save off a shot by 49ers midfielder Aiden Kirkbride. And that would be all she wrote for this one. Gamecocks take it 2-1 for their first victory of the season. After the game, head coach Mark Burson with his thoughts.
I thought what was critical tonight was answering that when they scored. I was really, really proud of that. And we did that at Charleston. We did it at Charleston twice. So it talks about the character of this team. You know, they're not going to be down. You know, they're going to come back. And I was really proud of that. I felt like, up at Clemson, we ran out of time. But, that game's in the past. These guys are learning. They're getting better. And I was really proud of the way they played tonight.
With the men's soccer team, I'm Pat Cloney, Capital City Sports.
After starting the season at an even 500 with a 2-2 record, the Lady Gamecock soccer team hosted Northeastern Friday night. CCS rookie Joe Lundgren was there, and he'll show you how it all went down.
Carolina soccer taking on Northeastern at home. Gamecocks just putting on an offensive clinic for most of the game. Kayla Grimsley had 2 goals, shown here in her first one, puts it right past the goalkeeper. Celebration ensues. Oh, look at them, they're having fun. Huskies trying to mount a comeback with this corner kick, but to no avail. Gamecocks holding strong. Huskies not afraid to play physical, had 11 fouls over the course of this game, shown right here. Later in the first half, Carolina trying to build on the lead off the corner kick, and it's up. No, Grimsley not able to head it in past the keeper, but she would get another chance. Gamecock defense held tough for most of the game, shown here number 22, Danny Henry, not in her house. Late in the first half, Carolina free kick. Boots it right down into the box, and number 20, Ellen Fahey, appears to put it past the goalkeeper, but the ref would whistle it offsides. No goal, Carolina. Closing minutes of the first half, Gamecock goal kick goes downfield to number 15, Courtney Rhodes, who dribbles it past 2 defenders and is able to put the ball into the goal for the second official Gamecock goal. High fives ensue, quite a familiar sight for the Gamecocks on this night. Opening minute of the second half, ball goes downfield to Grimsley, who takes it down through an open field, no one around her, and she is able to put the ball in for her second goal of the night. Straight beast. So what do you do when you've got 3 goals? Add another one? Exactly. Number 14, Lolly Holland, puts a little English on it for the finishing touch here. Gamecocks win 4-0. Definitely reason to celebrate down here at Stone Stadium as the Gamecocks head into their next road trip. Signing off for Capital City Sports, I'm Joe Lonergan.
Coming up after the break, Hunter and Justin preview Georgia, volleyball hosts Elon, and they also take on Gardner-Webb. Don't touch that dial. After looking a little shaky against ECU, the Gamecock football team travels to Athens to face SEC rival Georgia for a game that could make or break the Gamecocks season. Let's send it to Justin and Hunter to see what they think will happen this weekend against the Bulldogs.
Hello, welcome back into the boardroom. I'm Hunter Banks, joined again by Justin Stevens. Now, Justin, Georgia last week held Boise State to 57 yards on 24 rushes. And Doug Martin for Boise State is not a bad running back.
What does Marcus Lattimore and the Gamecocks have to do to keep that from happening to them?
Like you said, Doug Martin is not your average running back. He's actually a really good running back for Boise State, but Georgia really shut him down. They loaded the box and, let Kellen Moore really destroy him in the passing game. He had around 250 passing yards. So that's what I think the Gamecocks are going to have to do. Test Lattimore early, test that Georgia defense, but then put in the hands of Garcia. Garcia's hot right now. He came in second quarter against East Carolina and did impressive. East Carolina's not the toughest team, but still he was really impressive getting the ball to Alshon and A. Sanders, and he's going to have to spread the ball around to more people. DL Moore and Barnes is going to have to get in the game too. So like I said, give Lattimore his attempts, see how that goes, but also rely on your passing game against Georgia.
And on that note, how good the Georgia defense did last week, what does the Carolina defense have to do this week to avoid a shaky start like they had last week against ECU?
Georgia didn't run the ball that much against Boise State, but Aaron Murray was really impressive. He has tremendous wideouts. Boykin even had an 80-yard rush on a reverse, and he's just lights out fast. That special teams is fast, so special teams and defense is going to have to play better. The secondary is the key that's going to have to improve. Georgia's going to pass the ball. Aaron Murray might be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. I think he is. So that secondary is going to have to shape up because they just weren't there against East Carolina. Lance Lewis and Justin Hardy destroyed that defense with Davis throwing the ball. So the secondary going to have to improve, or it might be a long game in Athens.
All right, Justin, I disagree with you on the Aaron Murray being the best quarterback in the SEC. I think Stephen Garcia is the best quarterback. I think he'll go off for about 250 yards this week. Alshon will probably have 100 yards. And Lattimore will definitely go over 100 yards, I believe. And I think the Gamecocks will probably pull it out about 28-24 this week. How do you think the game's going to go for them?
Well, the spread right now is 3 points. And last year, I think the Gamecocks won by 10. It'll be much closer than that in this one. I think the Gamecocks do pull it out in the end. It's going to be a tough test for them early on in the season, week 2, first conference game, first division conference game too. So this game has a lot going on. So Gamecocks winning close, I say by a touchdown or maybe a little bit less, but I think the Gamecocks pull it out.
And that'll do it for us in the Bordering this week. Stay tuned for more.
After sweeping the Temple Invitational in Philadelphia, the volleyball team hosted the Gamecock Invitational. The Lady Gamecocks swept the tournament by beating Gardner-Webb and Davidson Friday and Elon and UNC Asheville on Saturday. To see how they did against UNC Asheville, let's send it to Joe Lundgren again.
Gamecock volleyball taking on Elon in the semifinal of the Gamecock Invitational. Cocky's pumped up. He's ready to go. Elon not giving Carolina a whole lot of breathing room all throughout the match, but early in the first set here, premier SEC player Juliette Tevenin getting set up for the spike and showing him what she's got. One of her 14 kills throughout the match. Carolina really came out striking the ball well. However, Elon able to keep the ball alive, on this point anyway, until freshman Bethany Thomas getting set up for the spike here, and she pounds it. Way too much to handle for the Phoenix. Thomas had 16 kills on the day. Very impressive statistic there. Here in the second set, Carolina hits him with a jump serve. Elon keeping the ball alive. Definitely a slow point developing here. Until right here, where the Gamecocks are able to block the ball and stop it in its tracks. Elon attempted to come back with a powerful jump serve here. Handled well by the Gamecocks. Senior Teresa Stendlin showing him what's what. Carolina dropped the third set to Elon. However, Coach Swanson gave the troops a pep talk and they come out fighting. Get set up for the spike here and off the foot. Gamecocks, they take another of their many points in the match. While Carolina definitely had a lot to cheer about in this match, definitely not one-sided. Elon did give them a lot of trouble, particularly in that third set. All in all, the Gamecocks able to pull out the tough win against the Phoenix, winning 3 sets to Elon's 1. This is Joe Londergan signing off. But first, here's what Coach Swanson had to say about his star player, Juliet Tevenen.
You know, I think she's going to be one of the top players in the SEC, to be honest. Everybody's going to be looking to try to stop her, so it's going to be a challenge.
This is Joe Londergan signing off.
The Lady Gamecocks also did well against Gardner-Webb on Friday. William Wall was there, and he has your highlight.
Got South Carolina taking on Gardner-Webb. As the action goes back and forth, you'll see 13 Frankie Vane right here with the agile touch and the smooth finish. Gamecock still doing well as 13 Frankie Vane with a nice spike here, and Carolina scores again. Gamecock showing some early dominance as they win the first set 25-13. It's a little back and forth action here. You'll see number 16 Bethany Thomas with the score right there. Second set proving to be a little tougher. The Gamecocks do take it 25-20. You'll see number 5 Hannah Forrest with a power move right here, rejected by Gardner-Webb. That's okay though. Number 7 Teresa Stinlin's got her back. Gamecock point. You're going to see Gardner-Webb here on the return. You'll see number 13 Frankie Vane come up and violently smash a ball. Point Carolina. Gamecocks continuing their battle on into the third set. You're going to see number 16 Bethany Thomas with a nice score right there. The third set can be described nothing other than as a war and absolutely thrilling. Here's South Carolina number 8 Kara Howley scoring a point. Third set action continues. You'll see number 7 Teresa Stinlin says, "Not in my house." And they say all good things must come to an end, so must this game. South Carolina serving match point. And the return by Gardner-Webb will fall out of bounds, and that's your game right there.
We're young and we're kind of rebuilding, but at the same time, I think if we play within our system and we're disciplined, I think we can surprise some people this year by just being a disciplined, organized team.
Signing off, William Wall, Capital City Sports.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Capital City Sports. If you missed any of our episodes or just want to catch up, you can find us at capitalcitysports.blip.tv. Find us on Facebook or iTunes by searching Capital City Sports, or follow us on Twitter at CCS Staff. Make sure you tune in next Thursday at 8 o'clock for our next episode. I'm Emily McDonald. Have a great weekend.